So I'm only gonna do this once. I'm gonna do my best to make it through this and give y'all details that I know y'all been waiting on, right? So we're just gonna start here. The worst day of my life that could have ever happened to me happened to me. I've been through a lot in my life. Whenever my mom left, whenever we were 8 and went to jail, we went pillow to post, and literally things happened to me as a child that shouldn't have happened to me. But that's a story for another day. I thought that was the worst things that could have happened to me. Psych. I'm gonna try and be serious, but y'all know I'm goofy. So if my goofy comes out, please don't think that what happened to me or my story is any less important or any less traumatic than what it is, right? So we're gonna hop into it. In 2009, June the 13th, 2009, I had my first child, my son, Jordan. My son, Jordan, was born. I almost died. I had a nurse who was very disrespectful. She was a white nurse. At the time, his dad was working for an oil field company, not gonna say any names, but he made really good money at that time. So I was I'm gonna use the word because I'm trying to keep things very, some things private, because I just want to be able to do that because I want to be able to protect other people, even though this one particular person does not deserve to be protected at all. I was out in where the more people who had more money, that's where I had my baby at. That's the county I had my baby in. And at that hospital, I remember giving birth to my son. And as I'm trying to push him out, this is my first baby. I'm 20 going on 21. The words that slipped out of her mouth were, "It's always the black ones that are so dramatic." Whoa, well, girl. But that wasn't the only thing. I tried to explain to her that my ears were burning. She didn't want to hear that. What do you mean your ears are burning? Man, my ears are on fire. I had a fever of 104. Had my first son's aunt not been there, if I would not have died because the fever would have went so high, I would have had long-term brain damage because this nurse decided to be goofy because she was white and I was black. Story for another time. So my first son is born. This is his 4th birthday. I pull out all the stops on his birthday. I don't even know why. Any other birthday, yeah, he had cake. We went out, But this day, we went and got, I don't know if y'all know what this is. It's going to show my age. But it's called Star Shots, right? Star Shots is where you can go and they have these backgrounds that are like the, pink and heart bubbles and stuff like that. And, just real jazzy. I got him a brand new birthday outfit. I braided his hair specifically for that day the night before. And we went and took Star Shots. The company I was working for at the time, they tried to tell me that I couldn't take time off for my son's birthday. And if I did take time off for my son's birthday, they were going to fire me, right? But I had so much vacation time built up. Why wouldn't I be able to take my son on one day, his birthday, cater and spend time with my son on his special day? No, they had me fucked up. I told my supervisor at the time, I'm taking my kid, I'm leaving, and I'm spending time with my kid on his birthday, okay? Now that's another story for another time as well, because the company I was working for, a few times they had, I'm gonna use the word the government, called on them, and they had to come in and see how they were treating us as employees. But okay. My son's birthday comes. We have it at, I don't know if y'all know what those parks are, but it's those big water parks. And it's the ones that have, the big things on the outside with the water coming out of them. And the lily pads is what I call them, with the water shooting up out of that part. And then there's a whole nother thing with the tree that has the water coming out. So it's pretty much a water park, but like for the community. Not like a huge water park like Slitterbond. It was just one for like a park. So we get there and his father says, "Hey, can I keep Jordan for a few more days. This is right after the birthday party. Everybody's still wet. I'm like, you know what? No problem. Me and his dad, after we went to court, had a very good co-parenting relationship. And which she's going to come up eventually. But his girlfriend, now wife, did not like that we co-parented so well. There was no problems between us. You pick him up where you supposed to, which was the drop-off place. I'll pick him up at the drop-off place that we had. You want to see him anytime outside of the child support paperwork, as long as you're doing what you need to do and you understand that if you ever take my child and try to run with him, you'll never see him again, I'm fine. And that's exactly how we kept it. We kept it copacetic. I said, okay, you can take him. He's at home with me all the time and it's just me and him. Whereas at his father's house, I believe they had him and her together had the first baby. And then they had the baby that she had from a prior marriage. So there were more kids that were there, right? So I wanted to let my son enjoy being around other children because majority of the time it was just me and him. So if I'm not mistaken, it was the next day. My phone didn't ring. I didn't get any text messages. I'm sitting down and I'm watching TV. All of a sudden, a voicemail pops up on my phone saying that I missed a call and somebody left a voice message. So I go to check the message. I hear his dad in a panic. Now, let me back up a second. That same day, I called the girlfriend, now wife, and I told her to have Michael bring my baby home because I talked to my baby on the phone that day. That was the last day my son told me that he loved me. That was the last time I heard my son say mom. That was the last time I talked to my kid while he was breathing. I told her, I said, my son was ready to come home. Tell his dad to bring him home. Oh, we can't bring him home. You know, his dad is at work. So I said, call him and tell him just to come, bring him home. Now, y'all are probably wondering why I didn't just go get him. The car that I had at the time was not in the best of shape. I didn't even want to drive it, nor could I afford, because his dad wasn't paying child support. I was literally paying for everything out of pocket. Even though he was on child support, I couldn't afford to get another car. So me not wanting to take this car that's already bad, I'm like, just tell him, bring him home. Well, look, girl, call that man on the phone and tell him that I said, bring my son home. You call him. Word. So I call his dad on the phone. I'm like, hey, I'm ready for my kid to come home. Bring my kid home. And I don't know what it was that just made me want him to come home right after, the day before, whenever I said he can go and spend some more time. But it was just something that, I don't know, even with him telling me, I love you, mommy. I'm ready for you to come pick me up. I don't know. It was different this time. So I call his dad. He's like, I'm out working. I can't go and pick him up and bring him to you. What do you want me to do? Exactly what I told you to do. Bring him back home. So then I get the voice message because, like I said, my phone never rang. I never got any text messages. I just saw that I had a voicemail all of a sudden. So I'm listening to the voicemail and everything is going nuts. I'm like, oh my God, what didn't happen? And his dad is like, hey, call me quick. Something happened to Jordan. And I'm like, what happened to him? Like, I'm freaking out at this point. So I call his dad. His dad goes, Kanisha, Jordan drowned. I said, what? He said, Jordan drowned. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? So then, apparently because he hears that I'm hysterical and I'm getting more hysterical by the second, he gives the phone to his nephew. I'm like, hey, what's going on? You just got to make it to the hospital fast, Kanisha. Where is the hospital? What are y'all talking about? What's going on? I can't wrap my brain around what they're telling me. I'm not understanding. It's not computing in my brain what they're saying. You just got to come to the hospital. I'm going to text you. I can't stay on the phone. I'm going to text you the address. They text me the address. The guy that I was with at the time, I go and pick him up from work. We both worked at the same job. I tell him I cannot drive, which I really couldn't. Our job was up the street. So I get there. I say, look, man, we got to make it to this hospital. Like, you got to drive me. You got to drive me. So he drives me. We end up at the wrong hospital. And then one of the nurses said it may be this hospital, which was like a few miles down the way. So I get there and I tell the dude that I'm dating at the time, let me out of the car right here and you go park the car, but I need to get in this hospital. I get out, I barely shut the door, and then I see my son's aunt's husband in an Impala passing by. And all I remember saying was, he better be okay. He better be breathing. All y'all gonna get it. All y'all gonna get it. So I ran into the hospital and my son's aunt was there on his dad's side. And she goes, Kanisha, I said, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything you have to say or anything that anybody has to say. Show me my kid. Show me my kid right now, or it's going to be a problem. Show me my kid. Kanisha, you got to calm down. Calm down? What are you talking about? Take me where my kid is. So a nurse comes out. She grabs me. Okay, Miss Williams, come this way. In the hospital, it was these glass sliding doors for the rooms. And I run down to the room that the nurse is showing me. I run in that room, and my son is laying on that gurney with his eyes open. So I automatically, because I couldn't believe it. So I run in there and I'm like, oh my God, he's still alive. Thank God, thank God. And his dad is standing there and his dad's looking at me like this. And I look at his dad and I break. I wanted to hold him. But there was a doctor who said because he had all the tubes coming out of his mouth, and there were tubes where they were trying to resuscitate him and get him to breathe again, that I couldn't pick him up because none of the tubes could be removed. Not even a few seconds later, Mike is getting shipped to another facility. And they said that he was going because they thought he was having a heart attack. So they take me out of the room and put me in this little room. And my uncle and my aunt come up there and they stay with me. And mind you, a week before all this happened, my mom had a furlough. A furlough is something that you get whenever you get to come home, whenever you're in prison. Like, I'm going to use the word as a vacation from prison, but I don't really know how to explain it other than that. She had cleaned my whole apartment. She had washed, dried, and folded all the clothes. I didn't ask her to. This is a week prior to what happened. So then they have me in this little room, and my uncle just keeps asking me to calm down. I'm hysterical. My aunt is there. I'm hysterical. All I kept saying was that I want an all-white casket, and I want him dressed in all white. That's all I could keep saying. I remember it like it was yesterday. That's all I could keep saying. So then after that, I said, I want to hold my son. I don't care about what nobody is talking about. I want to hold my child. I don't care about what y'all are talking about. I want to hold my baby. And this doctor that, I guess this was one of the doctors that worked on him, they were like, you can't hold him. You can't. It was a nurse that was there. I will never forget this woman. I will never forget her. This nurse convinced the doctor to let me hold him. But the doctor came in and said, the only thing you cannot do is take any tubes out of him. Anything that's already there, you cannot take it out of him. I'm sorry, but this is the one part that I've never been able to really work through. My son was 4 years old. He wasn't that big. I picked him up and he was so fucking heavy. He was so heavy. And then the doctor came in and said my time was up. They had to take him down to the morgue. I saw the rigor mortis set in his eyes. I had never seen nothing like that before. So then afterwards, after I let him go, because that day I wore a white shirt, and I still have that shirt. One of the tubes that was coming out of his mouth, blood came from it and got on that shirt, and I never threw that shirt away. I never washed it. I folded it up and I put it inside of a bag, and I still have that bag till this day. And I put him back on the table. And I cried. I cried. I couldn't do nothing else. I was helpless. But the part that got me was that after everything happened, they had the police come to the hospital and they interrogated me. And I'm looking at them like, have you lost your fucking mind? I was not there. I don't even know what y'all are asking me about. I couldn't focus. So after they asked their questions and I kind of just, okay, no. Yeah. I started looking for his dad's girlfriend because come to find out, that day they didn't ask me to take my kid to a pool party. She took my kid to a pool party and my baby ended up at the bottom of the pool. He ended up at the bottom of the pool. On my way out from that hospital, because my uncle and my aunt literally had to drag me out. I'm walking, I have my head down. Then all of a sudden, someone says, look up. And I looked up. And finally, that girl was there. And it was crazy because I remember walking up to her. I was silent. I didn't say nothing until I got close. And I remember her whole family standing up. And I'm looking at them like, why is everybody standing up? I didn't do anything wrong here. She did. Whenever his dad dropped all of them off at that party and left my baby in her care, it was her responsibility to make sure that he was safe. I asked her, her eyes were all puffy. They were red. They were swollen shut damn near. I asked her, I said, what happened? She just starts crying. Everything in my soul wants to say, shut the fuck up and tell me what happened. But I couldn't. I was stuck. So I asked her again, what happened? And through her cries and her tears and her swollen, puffy eyes, I don't know, I went into the house to change the baby and everybody else was outside. And my uncle was like, let's go. Because he saw that she wasn't making no sense and he saw I was getting more and more angry every fucking word she spoke. So my uncle said, let's go. I said, I'm not going nowhere. I done finally found her. Y'all been hiding her in this hospital since I got here. I done finally found her. You gonna tell me something. You gonna tell me something. My uncle goes, no, let's go. My uncle kind of pulls me because my legs were stuck. My legs were stuck. And I start to walk away from her. And I look back at her just to remember how she looked because I just wanted to keep that in my mind. I had to keep that in my head. And the puffiness was just bad. It was horrible. It looked like she had eaten something that she wasn't supposed to, and she had an anaphylactic shock going on. She was just swole. But I got to call my uncle and my aunt, and we rode away. And I was in that car bawling. I couldn't stop crying. My brain wouldn't wrap around what actually happened. It just wouldn't. This is why I always tell people, teach your kids how to swim. Because you never know what's going on or what's going to happen or when that moment's going to be where you're not there to protect them or the person that's supposed to be protecting them ain't protecting them. You never know. But this is why I always tell people, watch your kids. Teach them things that even if you didn't learn, there's so many adults that don't know how to swim. It's unreal. But this is why I tell people to. There's a lot more to this story, but I can't keep going right now. So I have to come out with another video for y'all. And I'm going to do my best on Saturday to have it where you guys can ask me questions about what happened. But I just had to bite the bullet so that everybody else who's going through losing anybody that you were in love with, that you loved, that was your world. My son was my world. My son was my best friend. With all the horror I endured before I had him, he was my peace. He was my light. I'm going to try and do a video for y'all so y'all can ask questions. And there'll be another video so I can tell y'all everything else that happened. But I'm going to end this one. And y'all hug y'all kids and kiss them no matter how bad they ass is, no matter how much they fuck up. Hug them. Show them love. Do your best to teach them as much as you can and to be there for them because they need you.